Well, good afternoon. It's again, it's Dan Newcomb with Atlantic License Brokers, and this is one of our webinars that the last 3 or 4 months, we've tried to bring some information out to people that we do business with and are on our list, things that might be of value to them. And just for some background, my family owned 26 restaurants. I grew up in the restaurant operations piece, so the things that we're finding in the market, like this webinar, the information we're going to present today, these are things that when I see them, it's like, wow, this is something I wish we had back then. Yesterday I was out in Arizona. I've been out there since Thursday, and yesterday I was walking around the property. I stay at this hotel. I've been there 5 or 6 times, and walked around the hotel. It was really hot, and the sun was out. It was a beautiful day. I don't know if you've been to Arizona before, but it's this property is just it's a top-notch, beautiful property. And I saw someone coming out of a room or coming out of an area that I've seen it before, but I've never really seen it before. And it was a brand new gym that I didn't know that existed on the property. So it made me think a little bit about some of the ways that we do business. And oftentimes we do business, we do our regular routine, we go to the hotel and sit at the pool and go to the gym that we know, but oftentimes there's other things that we've never noticed before. There's unlimited potential and opportunities and other places at the facility or at the resort that we didn't know existed. And this is kind of like Swipely. When I first saw Swipely a few months back, I thought to myself, geez, look at all the information, look at all the opportunity to make more money. And I said to my team, I said, we need to bring this out. We need to show it to the people that, our friends and our business partners that we have. So today we've got Ray from Swipely. He's going to do a presentation. When I saw the presentation, it just blew me away. It's relatively short, but it's very well put together, very well organized, and I think you're going to get a lot of information out of it. So I'd like to introduce Ray from Swipely. Ray, you out there?
Yeah, right here.
Great. So I'm going to pass this over to Ray Tremblay at Swipely, and he's going to walk you through his presentation. Ray, it's all yours.
So you guys can see my whole screen right now where it says Channel Power?
We have it, yep.
Fantastic. Well, this is actually my presentation right in front of you now. And we just released this, so I'm glad everybody gets a chance to see it today. I was pushing marketing to get it done so I could show you all. And thank you for the introduction as well. I mean, really, the whole idea behind Swipely is, quite frankly, the processing industry hasn't changed, and it's almost a dinosaur at this point in time. And all the business owners out there understand exactly what I mean. Probably 5 phone calls that come into you a week are a processor, more or less fighting over decimal dust or competing on price. And really what this company was founded on is kind of looking for a way to infuse that expense with value. So what we've been able to do, we've located ourselves in Providence, Rhode Island, which isn't the norm for a tech company because that's where the owner came from. And we've hired about 20 to 30 engineers who spent a long time building out a dashboard that aggregates all the information just simply from someone swiping a credit card. Compete on price and save a little bit of money. What Swipely's done for up to 500 merchants now is simply match what they pay for processing, but really help them get information out of that expense. And it's kind of summed up by the person on the screen. I mean, normally business owners choose a processor, and basically what it allows them to do is simply have this person right here swipe their credit card, sign the receipt, and leave, and that's it. But really what we want is when this person comes in is to really understand him. Like maybe he spent $1,250, or he's been in close to 30 times, and last time he came to see you was 2 days ago. Well, the way that we've been able to do that is just like I described, and since we started 5 years ago, we work with over 250 cities. Almost 3.9 million people we're collecting insights just like the guy you just saw. And we're actually already processing over 1 billion transactions a year. We're actually First Data. I don't know how many of you out there are familiar, but we're their fastest growing ISO, independent sales organization, just because of differentiating. Now, what do we actually provide to these merchants? Well, we actually give them a dashboard, just like I mentioned, where all this information sits. And the first thing they're going to be able to see is things like, what did I ring in this month? how many visitors came in, and what was my average sale. And even more than that, if everybody can realize these green lines at the bottom, which represent days of the month, how are those credit card sales affected by the different efforts I'm doing? So I mean, what we allow merchants to do is just hover over one of these days and really try to figure it out. Well, I rang in $5,000 today. That's a spike of $400. Why could that have been? Well, maybe I have outdoor seating, and the weather's affecting my sales, which I didn't know before, because it was partially cloudy, and who knows, it could have been rainy the other Sunday. Or it could also be something you promoted in social media. All the time people are guessing if social media is actually working, and being able to see it directly related to your sales is a definite help. So one of the reasons you could have drove more business is a Mother's Day brunch. Also, normally this $105,000 number is the only number people understand on their actual processing statement, which is another problem with the industry. Although we've cleaned up the statement dramatically, and I'll show that to everyone, the real idea of why I'm saying this is we want to understand that $105,000, like where did it actually come from? And we're able to tell you if that's from new or repeat business. So rather than just ringing in $105,000, business owners should start thinking $66,000, two-thirds of my business came in from repeat business, and about one-third came in from the new business. If they want to know how many visitors that is, they can just look in the cent. But really what I think is most powerful for people to start understanding is the difference in that average sale. I mean, if someone just comes in off the street, they spend $47. But if I can wow them with the food or the service or whatever I'm doing, they come back and they actually spend $60, making those repeat customers even more valuable to my business. Now, no one really has time to do a lot of these things, especially if it's just like a one or two owner operation. So we also want to update them with a weekly email. So every Monday, at least this will hit your inbox when you have a second to breathe to understand a little bit about the business and get your money's worth for processing. So I mean, we would show you what you rang in every week, how many people came in, and even what your average sale was, for instance, between the 6th and the 12th. Also pull in different things, like maybe the business was busiest Friday at 9 o'clock, slowest Sunday at 12, and you rang in about $234 per hour while you were open. We also want to even include a list of the top best customers that came in to see you to really start understanding them and thanking them. Now again, when you have a second to breathe to actually read the email, you may not be able to get behind a computer to actually look at this information. So 9 out of 10 people out there have smartphones, probably even more when they're attending a webinar. So the whole idea here is if you find this on the go and you're interested in sales by hour, just touch your screen and it'll bring you right back into your dashboard. So this is formatted for your mobile phone. So when you go into this and you just kind of touch a certain portion of the screen, it will load up that information for you. So kind of think of this as a heat map of your business. And what this is going to tell you is any hour you hover over, that pertinent information. And one thing we just added is how profitable is this hour compared to the rest of the week. It's 88% more profitable. Just like Wednesday at noon is only making up about, it's only higher than 2% of our sales all week. Now, one thing that's been a huge benefit to our merchants is kind of replacing that calendar that they have on the wall and putting that into the dashboard for them. So a lot of business owners out there do manage their Facebook. They do keep track of the weather, but it's not all in one spot, and it requires a lot of manual labor. So again, just by being the processor, just matching this revenue by other factors is a huge benefit. So when we look at Tuesday and we rang in double what we did on Monday, had double the visitors, like really start understanding, because that's because it's 68 degrees out and Monday it wasn't too nice. Same thing, like, are my posts on social media working? Well, if we rang in $3,500, your post is right underneath here saying 6 people liked it, 2 people commented. And quite frankly, you're actually able to drill into that and monitor your post from here and see what did I say this morning, who liked it, and what customers commented back, all through your calendar. Also, any review that comes in, we're going to make sure you can keep tabs on that. So if you get a Yelp review, 3 to 4 minutes after someone posts it, we're going to put it in here so we can see those correlations with the processing. Did this affect us? Can we read the whole thing? Let's not search the interwebs anymore for these. Also, these blue boxes on your calendar, these track marketing campaigns. So again, kind of matching that revenue with what you're doing in the store. I mean, the example here is a restaurant week. Speaks true for any type of marketing campaign you do, but as a business owner, we all know there's 2 real reasons to do this. One is we want that influx of business, and the second reason we would do this is we want that influx of business to come back down the road because we wowed them with the food or the service and really have them pay full price. So to take away some of that ambiguity, we just click in, and now we're able to track that. So we just type in the name, Restaurant Week, type in the time threshold, and then check off what we want included in our report. Once we do that, we create the campaign, and now we have all the different information on our actual Restaurant Week. So we rang in $25,000. That's $7,000 more than a typical week for us. We got 612 people to come through the doors, almost 94 more than a typical week. And here's that breakdown if our Restaurant Week customers were new or repeat. Now, probably the coolest piece of information we can take here is just how many people have come back. So right here, we're saying 612 got through our door, but since then, this campaign has tracked, and we know 109 have come back. So even throw processing out the window, it's just the idea of understanding and leveraging those card swipes to even, help you create an ROI or at least track that. Daily breakdown, just going to show you your revenue. Want that to be higher than a typical day. And again, let's start understanding who were our best customers during Restaurant Week. All the boxes you checked off on the screen before is all at the bottom. Because although it was a successful campaign, we want to find out why. Like, what did we say on Facebook to get that extra $7,000? What type of reviews came in, and how can we benefit that from this week and in the future? Because if you get reviews that come in, during the week, this makes your life easier. But also if you want to do this campaign again, like Restaurant Week next year. We also want to give you a list of your best customers at all times, and that's what's right in front of you here. You can categorize them however you like, but it's really beneficial to now be able to show all these different people and start understanding them. When you click in on any of them, they're actually going to have a spend profile with their name, their email, what cards they use. The first time you would really need to touch the keyboard is simply if you want to take notes on these particular people. Also, any of those campaigns you track, we want to make sure it's attached to that card and that person. So for instance, if you did a Restaurant Week, that gray box would show up right here. And with one click of the button, all the people who came into Restaurant Week, we can email back out next year and say, I know you loved it this year. Can't wait to see you next year. One thing we really want our merchants to start doing too is monitoring their reputation. So like, this isn't tied to processing as much as it was in the marketing calendar, but again, it's just another thing that merchants can start doing and that is affected by their sales. So anytime a review comes in, I know sometimes people don't want to look at them or they don't have the time, but the whole idea is having this live stream, so it's very, very easy to keep track of all of them. And one thing you could do that will make everyone feel better is track other businesses. So whether this is a competitor up the road or just a friend that you're interested in seeing what they're doing, you can loop that right in, and when they do get a review, it'll have this other business tab attached to it. Now, there's a few other things that Swipely does, but just on the note of how the processing industry's changed is very well summed up by this very cheesy picture. You have this phone on the left, almost Gordon Gekko from Wall Street or Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell, however you'd like to frame it. But the whole idea here is that is typical credit card processing. It does the job just like Gordon Gekko's phone probably still does, but at the same price you pay today, there's so many better solutions out there, and there's so much value that can be taken from the card swipe. That's why I kind of like to think of Swipely as the iPhone on the right-hand side. And as some of my tech friends probably know, this should already be updated because there's a newer version of the iPhone out. But the whole idea here is we have all the bells and whistles that you would need from a processor. And we keep building those out continuously because there's so much room for innovation. Granted, no one else has innovated. In the last 10 years, the processing industry has been around. The biggest implementation or innovation has just been adding color to that same statement people still throw away at the end of the month. So we're really trying to change that. And I've got a bunch of cheesy images for everyone to look at. But really, just kind of to the business, Swipely, there's a lot of different things that we do. Whether it's analytics on those customers, kind of like the higher level things, looking at them on an individual basis, using those marketing tools to track different campaigns, understand if there's an ROI, or the loyalty tools which we have down the road. And I wasn't able to talk about those, but there's something along the lines of, like, even with that credit card, making it into a loyalty card and just instantly zipping an incentive back onto that card. And that's something we can talk about if anyone's interested in that as well, and I don't mind talking directly with them. But really the whole idea here is I successfully match the rate of merchants all the time and provide a far superior product. And anyone who's interested in taking a look at that or just learning about what I mean, just feel free to ask. You guys still there?
Yep.
Awesome. I had to check my little webinar control panel.
Yeah, it's just amazing. The metaphor of the Gordon Gekko, the big box mobile phone, the first generation mobile phone, and credit card processing today, and the iPhone. I think that's an excellent metaphor to what you have to present here, Ray.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Ray, what's typically what's the first question people ask you when they look at Swipely? If somebody calls and they're interested in looking at it, what's the number one question you get from people?
What's the price? They always ask me what the price is because that's how they're like wired by the credit card industry. Or they're scared that there's going to be like a hidden fee because it's extremely common in this industry, which isn't the best industry, quite frankly, for there to be a plethora of hidden fees lodged within the statement. So that's probably the number one concern. I mean, there's a lot of anxiety from switching. I don't know if it's a question, but merchants in general feel very anxious to switch simply because they've been burned in the past. And that's really why we even take this a step further. So for instance, like if a merchant wanted to join, I'd ask them to send me their processing statement so we can prove price parity and match the rate that they pay. And rather than just emailing them a proposal, we would actually itemize that out in a new presentation. So like taking 10 or 15 minutes, they usually feel really comfortable knowing, oh, that is what I'm paying today. Oh, and you took $65 worth of like a statement fee or a regulatory compliance fee. You took all that out and you're actually saving me money while joining. That's usually kind of when that apprehension goes away and they feel a lot more comfortable.
And how does the transition, if somebody decides to move forward with Swipely, how do you come online with them? How do you make that happen?
Sure. So whether they have a POS system or it's just a standalone terminal or they're in a contract, we actually budget money aside to board them. And what I mean by that is, like, rather than them pay to get out of their contract or integrate with their POS system, Swipely makes sure to pay those people, so we position ourselves as really a no-cost upgrade. And that's all done with their personal account manager. So when they join Swipely, they have one point of contact who's going to pick up the phone in a couple of rings rather than get connected to a robot. And that particular person will handle the transition for them. And all they really have to do is one day before work, come in and do a test swipe.
Oh, so you guys have really worked through it and taken all the hassle out of making a change.
Totally. I mean, any work you can take away from a merchant, all the better. It makes things go easier, and as long as we get all the information we need, they really don't even need to be involved.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions that they'd like? If you want to type them in the box down the bottom of your screen, be more than happy to share them with Brett. Oh, excuse me, with Ray.
No problem.
So we're not seeing anything yet. So, Ray, what we're going to do is we've recorded the webinar. We're going to go ahead and send that back out, send out an email to the people that did participate. We're going to send out an email so you have some follow-up information and a call to action, a way to move the process forward. If you have interest in Swipely, you want to learn more about it, we're going to send out some emails so you can we can make that happen. And feel free to call our office at 781-319-9800. Be more than happy to help you with putting you in contact with these guys. Again, I think that if you have an iPhone, you appreciate all the bells and whistles and all the information that you have, and just how easy it makes your life. And I think that with credit card processing in the past, it's been something that's just been a very static service that is provided. But what Swipely offers right now is something that's really very dynamic, that gives you an amazing amount of analytical, customer, marketing, loyalty information, just a whole toolbox to help improve your bottom line and make more money. So this time, Ray, thank you very much for your presentation. It was great. I love the fact that we did it in 20 minutes. That's perfect. Everybody can get back to work now.
No problem at all. And like you mentioned, if anybody wants to reach out to us, we're here and ready to go. And although this was kind of like the 20-minute version, I don't mind doing a deep dive on anything anybody's interested in.
Perfect, and that's exactly what we were hoping. We just wanted to give you the a high-level 30,000-foot view on it. If you want to get deep down and get some more questions answered, we'll be more than happy to make the connection. So thank you very much. Thank you for attending, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having me.